It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the movies of February 19th, 1993. We got 4 movies to look at today, so let's go ahead and jump on into it. We'll start off with what is easily one of the best movie that came out this weekend, and that is the third installment of the Evil Dead franchise, the most questionable one of the Evil Dead franchise, some would say, but there's a lot to really appreciate about this movie, and we're going to delve into that, but first, here is the trailer for Army of Darkness.
Age of darkness.
May God have mercy upon your souls. Something's wrong. Something's amiss.
And a time of evil.
You shall die!
When the world needed a hero.
This one was souls. Everybody die!
What it got was him.
Groovy. Throw your shoelaces untied.
He's a 20th century guy.
For that arrogance, I shall see you dead.
Trapped in the Middle Ages.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. This is my boomstick.
Now, let's talk about how I get back home.
Foretold by a mystical book.
Within its pages are passages that can send you back to your time.
Forewarned by a wise man.
You must recite the words Klaatu, Berata, Niktu.
I got it.
Fulfilled by a wise guy.
Klaatu, Berata,
When we spoke the words, the army of the dead awoke.
Now, he's got a date.
Give me some sugar, baby.
With the Army of Darkness.
You found me beautiful once.
Honey, you got real ugly.
Sound the trumpets. Raise the drawbridge.
Look out!
Drop the Oldsmobile. From Sam Raimi,
Oh, that's gonna hurt!
director of Darkman, comes Army of Darkness. They live. They breathe. They suck. Army of Darkness.
So yeah, Army of Darkness is one that's at first hotly contested because this is the third installment of the Evil Dead franchise, and you can pretty much tell that this is more going for a horror comedy type of feel than the other movies, which were horror movies, but they also had comedy in them, but were mostly horror movies. And Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 are classic movies, and at the time, a lot of people looked at Army of Darkness as kind of a disappointment because of the fact that they went strictly for more comedic setups more than the horror aspect. But honestly, that's what kind of makes it so special. I don't think it's as good as some of the other movies were, but this is still a really fun movie. That trailer, I can always go back and watch that trailer all the time because there's just so many great moments in there that are in the movie, and it's Bruce Campbell, man. Bruce Campbell he just has the right attitude for this role. He is Ash Williams, and when he's on screen as that character, everything's just wonderful. Everything's coming up Millhouse, as you would say. But as you would say, what am I even saying? But you get the idea. Like every time that Ash Williams comes on screen, everything is just great. Like Bruce Campbell is just going to put in all the effort that he can, put in a great over-the-top but serious performance, and this movie does not disappoint on that level. Like, he is fantastic in this. He plays multiple roles in here. The comedy is brilliantly funny. It's so ridiculously stupid, but it's hilariously funny. The final action scene of the movie, where they're fighting the skeletons and Ash has got to face the evil version of himself, it's one of the funniest climaxes, one of the funniest fights you will ever see. Like the way that Ash defeats the evil Ash is a moment that is so hilarious, so over the top, so insanely funny. You got to watch it over and over again. Like, you got to have the right mindset to really appreciate this movie. And it's just a ton of fun all around. Like, I love these characters that they have in here. I love the concept. The comedy is so funny. The action sequences are very fun. The horror aspects are pretty good too. The visuals are outstanding. Really, I will say it's not on the same level as Evil Dead 1 and 2, but it's still an incredibly fun movie. I love it a lot. It's a movie that, honestly, I go back to slightly more than I do with the other Evil Dead movies, even though I like those movies a lot better. This is the one that I usually watch a lot, specifically for the insane, over-the-top comedy that's in here. It's just an amazing movie all around. I can't really recommend this movie enough. Army of Darkness, just a fantastic film. If you haven't seen it, if you're looking for some good, fun, over-the-top laughs, this movie is the perfect movie for you. Go ahead and check it out. You will not be disappointed by it by any means. So yeah, that's Army of Darkness. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is John Turturro in a movie that he wrote and directed as well, Mac.
Father taught them there are only two ways to do anything.
My way and the right way. And they are both the same.
One brother has all the answers.
You know what I think happiness is? To love your job. You hate your work. You hate your life.
The other two have all the questions.
We gotta get in a better predicament. Rome wasn't built in a day. Two brothers and a sheep. Romulus and Remus. That's the guys.
They don't see eye to eye.
But those guys got money. Money. We ain't got no money.
And they're taking it all to heart.
Didn't you want to start our own business?
Hey, who is better than us anyway?
Now they're putting the life that Dad built together again.
5,000.
8.
Did you know there was a cow farm here?
Piece by piece.
25,000. 30.
I know a good investment when I see one.
So you want to give it to me, huh?
Yes.
Brick by brick.
50,000. Sold. Also, there's some complications.
Because a dream worth having
There's only two ways to do something, only two. The right way and my way. And they're both the same.
is a dream worth fighting for.
You want us to live our lives for you? It's over.
Get out! These are my houses!
And a dream worth building.
We put that, me and my brothers, out of the ground.
From the producer of Sex, Lies, and Videotape, and winner of the Cannes Film Festival Palme d'Or Award. Written, directed, and starring John Turturro, and featuring Catherine Borowitz, John Amos, and Ellen Barkin. Mac.
So this is the first movie that John Turturro directed. He's actually directed some other movies of notability, including Romance and Cigarettes, Fading Gigolo. Most recently, he did the Big Lebowski spin-off film with his character from that movie in the Jesus Rolls, which I'm not really a bit, which as much as I love the Big Lebowski, it's my favorite Coen Brothers film. I will say that the Jesus Rolls is not a very good movie overall, but we'll get to that one eventually down the road when we eventually get to 2019, which will be a while. But let's talk about this movie here, and really, I say let's talk about it, but I haven't seen it. I really didn't even know it even existed until I did the research on this. I didn't even know that John Turturro actually directed this movie, but it's a movie that looks pretty interesting. It looks like a very good film. I mean, John Turturro has proven before that he can be a really good director. I did really like Romance and Cigarettes, and this movie looks like it could be pretty good. It's got a really good cast: Michael Badalucco, Nicholas Turturro, Ellen Barkin, Dennis Farina, Mike Starr, just a lot of memorable names in here. So it could be a really good movie. Like I said, I haven't seen it. I can't really comment on it too much, but my interest is definitely piqued. So I am curious to check it out one day. Maybe not anytime soon, but one that I might definitely check out if I ever see it out in the open. So that's Mac. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Like Water for Chocolate.
In Tita's kitchen, ordinary spices become a recipe for passion in the magical movie critics are falling in love with. Like Water for Chocolate. An instant classic, erotic and delectable, scrumptious, sensual, and visually alluring. 2 thumbs up, way up. Prepare for a treat. The extraordinary new film by acclaimed director Alfonso Arau, Like Water for Chocolate, rated R.
Can I just say how hilarious it is to hear Winnie the Pooh talking about how this is one of the most erotic films ever made? That's Jim Cummings, by the way, a very prolific voice actor who, of course, has done the voice of Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, a ton of other great roles, Darkwing Duck, so many classic roles, but he's also a pretty good movie trailer announcer because he's done a number of these, but I just find that so hilarious that that's the voice of Tigger talking about this movie, and I mean, for all it's worth, it is a pretty damn good movie. I've seen this movie before. It's a really good film. Was at the time it was the highest-grossing foreign language film ever. Before movies like The Postman beat it 3 years later, and of course other movies have done it since then. Like I'm looking at the list here: Fearless from Jet Li, Amelie, Pan's Labyrinth, Instructions Not Included, Parasite, Hero, Life is Beautiful, and of course Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But yeah, as far as the movie itself goes, it is a well-made film. It's a wonderfully made film. Some great visuals to it, some wonderful characters you can relate to, and be invested in. It's a beautiful-looking movie. This director, Alfonso Arau, has made some pretty decent films over the years. And after this, he made a pretty good-looking film with A Walk in the Clouds with Keanu Reeves in it. He also did the Magnificent Ambersons remake in 2002. He's a pretty good. He's a pretty good director, and he makes a pretty looking movie. It's a very visually stunning looking movie on so many levels. It's a really enjoyable film. I'm glad I saw it a couple years ago. I really liked it a lot. If you haven't seen Like Water for Chocolate, definitely check it out. You will not be disappointed by that one. With that said, on to the last movie that we have here, and that is The Judas Project.
In a time of madness and despair,
Receive the light.
a man of true greatness gave his life to save humanity. The man was the Son of God. The time is now.
I could promote you, turn you into something wonderful. I know who he is.
You saying you are God?
I've come to help! To bring light into a world that you are destroying.
You don't expect me to believe a dead guy just gets up and walks away.
I have the power to save or destroy you. Make sure he dies!
Not for 30 pieces of silver.
So yeah, that's a movie that exists. This was released in February of '93 by Good Times Entertainment, the company that's been notoriously known for releasing those terrible animated Disney knockoff movies. You know the ones I'm talking about, the ones that your grandmother used to get you because she thought it was the Disney, but it was actually the Disney movie, but it was the cheap knockoff version. That same studio actually put this out, and they didn't do a whole lot of theatrical releases during the time period, and when they did, the end result was not usually very good. I think the only other one that I know came out in theaters was the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer movie in '98, and that movie didn't do very well and has been largely forgotten. But this movie here, this is a movie that basically shows a fictional retelling of the story of Jesus if it had occurred in the late 20th century, which is not a bad idea. It could be a very interesting concept, but not with the way that this movie looks. This movie does not look like it's anything all that interesting or exciting. They just made it. It looks like they made this movie just to cash in on the Christian movie audience that wasn't really there at the time this came out. But of course, nowadays they make these movies for mostly the faith-based audiences, and they've proven to be successful. And but this movie came out way before then, and I think a lot of people really noticed it right away. And I don't know if I said this before, but this came out. This was actually made in 1990. It sat on a shelf for 3 years, so that should pretty much tell you what this movie is basically going to be. And it does not look very good. It has an interesting concept that maybe could be interesting under the right director or screenwriter or cast, but not with this movie. This movie does not look like it's any good whatsoever. So there you go. That's pretty much all I can say about this movie. It looks pretty bad. The Judas Project. So on that note, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we have 3 movies to look at. Well, technically 4, because also this next week coming up, we have the re-release of The Abyss, which was the special edition director's cut version that James Cameron did. But I've already looked at that movie before, and I'll show you that, and I'll put a link to the video where I did that one. I already did a review for that one, so I'm not going to talk about that one in particular. But we are going to look at 3 other movies. We've got Michael Douglas in Falling Down. We also got Robert Rodriguez's directorial debut, El Mariachi, and also Visions of Light. So we'll look at those 3 movies next time. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode. So thank you for watching, I'll see you next time, and until then, as always, take care.